So if you had to ask me, if you were to ask me one reason why I'm running for, the big reason why I'm running for governor, this last 10 minutes would be my long-winded explanation for it. It doesn't lend itself to a soundbite, but it's the most important thing that we can do for our children and grandchildren, is to put the systems in place where we can measure these things. Take another quick example. When we talk to the Department of Corrections, it is very common for the department to come in and complain that they've got so many beds, they've got so many prisoners, things are getting crowded, got to build some more beds. I never call them people, by the way, they call them beds. And when you think about it, if you work in state government and you're in charge of 10 wardens, if the system gets bigger and you need 12 wardens, well, your job gets more important and you deserve to get paid more under that system. But the truth of the matter is that the corrections department should be rewarded for getting smaller. Because every person that shows up there this week, every prisoner who enters the system this week who has been there before should be regarded as a failure, not as a revenue enhancer. But our current system says you get paid more for more volume. What we should be doing is rewarding the corrections department, the corrections people, for their success in correcting people, for reducing the recidivism rate. And we don't track recidivism. If you ask them what the recidivism rate is, they'll say, I'll get back to you on that. But they can tell you right any day you ask how many, quote, beds that they have and how the percentage of filling they have. So the problem with state government, in a nutshell, is that there's no profit and loss system inside of it. It doesn't run the way small business or big business runs. Mitt Romney, when he was running for governor, when he was running for president, reflected once on what it was like to be governor of Massachusetts. And he said after several days of being on the job, he began to ask his staff, where are my reports? And he looked at him quizzically and he said, what did you have in mind, Governor? And he said, well, we're putting people in prison, we're educating kids, we're delivering services, we're paving roads. Hey, got to be some reports around. And they finally, in some further conversation, came to the view that he was missing, reflexively missing, his P&L, his profit and loss report, because he'd been in private enterprise for all those years. And every business I know, my own business included, gets a report on the desk periodically. Mine comes on my desk every Monday morning, telling me what the revenue was recently and how it compares with last year, what our expenses are. I mean, I run it. That's how you keep score. State government has none of it. So we have to have a chief executive who is willing to pose certain questions, like recidivism, and ask it every week. How is our recidivism rate doing this week? And how does it compare with a year ago this week? And you have to substitute things in for the profit and loss system. And why is all that important? And this is the big point. We have to be able to demonstrate to this angry bunch of voters that we have that they're getting value for their tax dollars. And I give this exact same message and speech to the state employees when I talk with them. If you value your careers and your jobs, you need to be aware of that anger out there and stop insulating yourself from it. And think of ways in which you can demonstrate to people, to the legislature in the first instance and the governor, but more importantly to the public broader, why it is that what you're doing for work is of value, that you're producing results that are meaningful to the customers who are paying the bills. We have to start regarding taxpayers as customers. A whole new way of thinking, frankly. And as chief executive, that's what I would like to achieve. There's a dozen other things we could talk about. I want to hear your questions. What comments or questions do you have? Yes?
You were saying that you wanted to apply the same tactic towards social service programs as you do to education. With education, you have the NWEA. What do you have in mind to evaluate social service programs?
Well, they have, for instance, when they're measuring that when kids are having emotional And behavioral problems, they have an assessment called the CAFAS, C-A-F-A-S, which is often used by child psychiatrists and social workers to measure a child's progress through a crisis, or the child's evolving out of dysfunction. There are others. I mean, there are in nursing homes. There are assessment. I mean, I'm not saying that the entire system is devoid of assessment tools. In nursing homes and in boarding homes, we have regular assessments done. The minimum data set, which is really a Social Security system, which or it's sponsored by Social Security, and we use it for Medicaid as well as for Social Security. And it's a way of assessing how much the boarding home should get paid based on their mix of acuity. That is, if you have a lot of sick people, you get paid more than you do if you have a lot of people who are relatively well. But what's missing is we're not often using those assessments to say, well, this nursing home is doing a good job of progressing people. Not everybody in a nursing home or a boarding home is there to stay forever. A lot of people are just hurt, and they're going to leave, or they should leave. And then the question is, how good are they at the rehab function, at the function of moving people out of dependency? Those things are measured, but I don't know of any system right now that compares one nursing home against another in relative performance. And I think there should be. We do have systems that compare the one. We compare them for other reasons, but we don't have performance comparisons. Yes?